Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Dave Berry. I work as part of the International Development Office here at Nottingham Trent University, and today I'm going to be telling you all about how you can prepare for your studies at NTU and for moving to the UK as well. This is going to be really delivered to students that are hoping to join us in September 2023, but also students that are thinking about joining us at a later date in the year or next year. So this will hopefully be of interest to lots of you that are viewing today. I'm really pleased to be joined by two colleagues and friends. We have Ekta on the line with us right now, and also Mook. So Ekta is a former NTU student. She is now my friend and colleague. And Mook is a current student about to finish her programme. Ekta, I'm going to come to you first, just to ask you to give a quick introduction to yourself, where you're from, what you studied, and what your role is now, and then Mook will do the same for yourself.
Thanks, Dave, for the introduction. Well, hello everyone. My name is Ekta and I am from India. I moved to UK in September 2019 and I did my master's at NTU. I did master's in marketing, and after my graduation, I'm working with the university for over 3 years now. So yeah, if you have any questions, please pop them into the chat, and I'm gonna hand over to Mook.
Hi
Thanks so much,
everyone.
Ekta.
My name is Mook. I'm from China. I'm currently doing an MA TESOL program at NTU. So in Lawn is teaching English to speakers of other language. So if you have any questions relating to this program or any other master program or life settling in UK, welcome to ask me. I'm also a part-time student working in an IDEO office as well. So if you wanted to know anything about working part-time while you study, I can help you as much as I can.
Thank you so much, Mook. And that's actually a full house of alumni here, because all three of us studied or are studying at NTU. So again, everybody that's listening, please do ask us any questions that you have. We will get started for now, though. So in addition to people like myself, I'm our international officer for East Asia, and we also have various colleagues that are responsible for supporting students from across the world. So we have country advisors and various country teams that can assist you. So if you're interested in reaching out to those individual members of staff, if you just search for Nottingham Trent University and then the name of your country or your location, you'll then be able to find out who your personal representative is, and they'll be able to guide you further. We also, of course, have additional teams like Ekta and Mook's team, which is our international enquiries team, and they're here to answer any general questions that you may have. You can always reach that team on international@ntu.ac.uk. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of an explanation about how you can prepare for arriving, and also want to remind you that you don't just have to be listening to this. You can ask those questions to us via email as well, or via phone, and you can also contact us to ask if you're a future applicant that's interested in joining the university. You can send us a message over email, or even pop a note in the chat box now if you've got any initial questions. But it's a hello from us first and foremost. So first and foremost, I'm going to introduce our campuses. So the majority of our students are based on our city campus. So if you are a future student that's going to be studying in one of the schools, you might know those as faculties in your home country. If you're going to be studying in one of those schools on screen, you'll be based here on our city campus, which is right in the heart of the city centre. You're very, very close, I would say almost dangerously close to some fantastic shops, bars, restaurants and pubs. It's very easy to spend money in those, so you must be budgeting very carefully, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a second. But you'll be right in the heart of Nottingham. It's a fantastic location, and also home to our award-winning Students' Union. So great place to study, but also great place for fun and for nights out as well. We also have our Clifton campus, and this one gets a special mention from me because this is where I studied when I was an NTU student. So this was my NTU experience. Very, very, very fond memories of my time at Clifton, my nights out in the student union there, my very, very convenient commute to classes, which used to take me about 3 minutes to walk from my bedroom. So no excuses for being late, guys. We also have here our Institute of Education, School of Arts and Humanities, and School of Science and Technology. There's been a huge amount of investment in this campus in recent years. one of the things that I always experience when my parents visit me here in Nottingham is when they drive past the Clifton campus, they often call me and they say, Dave, what have they built now? Because there's a new building on campus. There's some really, really outstanding facilities here, including our state-of-the-art super lab. So if you're interested in science and technology in particular, that's one to check out on our website. So please do take a look at that. Then we have two of our smaller campuses, smaller in terms of student population, but Brackenhurst in particular is actually, in terms of its footprint, its actual size. Brackenhurst campus is actually pretty big. So it's actually a working farm and it's home to our School of Animal, Rural and Environmental Science. So if you like to study in a very quintessentially British environment, in a beautiful countryside campus, Brackenhurst is for you. Very, very close to our market town of Southall or Southwell, depending on where you're from and how you pronounce it. We also have our Confetti campus, and Confetti is home to our creative courses. So the Creative Institute of Technologies is Confetti's full name. This has got some fantastic facilities there, including our state-of-the-art esports arena. So some really, really cool modern facilities there. So again, please do check out those on our website. That's our campuses. I'm now going to talk a little bit about our city and to introduce Nottingham. So it's a very popular student city with around 60,000 students based here. Bearing in mind the actual population within the city is probably just over 300,000, and then in the wider city, perhaps around 600,000. The student population makes up a pretty sizable portion of that group. So the city very much caters towards the students that live here. You can see some of our key highlights on screen here, including this is actually a hidden bar that's a secret bar that's built inside a cave that runs underneath the city. Very atmospheric, if perhaps smelling slightly unusual because it's in a cave. We also have a picture here taken from our varsity football match. This is taken at the home of Notts County FC, the world's oldest professional football team. And this is a match between Nottingham Trent University and the University of Nottingham, a highlight of any year, certainly for me when I was a student. And of course, it would be remiss of me not to mention possibly the city's most famous son, which is Robin Hood, the man, the myth, perhaps the legend. We love him so much that we've built a statue of him here in the city, and you can actually well, I say you should take a picture of yourself with that statue. It's a bit of a rite of passage, I think, for new students to do that and send that home to mum and dad. You can also get lots of international cuisine here in Nottingham. And actually, this might be a time when I speak to Hector and Mook to ask for their recommendations and their experience of this. Hector, I'll come to you first. Of course, you've come from India, a very, very different style of cuisine, I guess, to the UK. How did you find it? And when you first got here, were you able to find plenty of places to eat to get some of those home comforts?
Well, it will come as a shock, but I didn't find any difficulty finding either Indian cuisine or Indian food in any of the supermarket. Even the biggest supermarket, for example, Tesco, have a aisle just for Indian food, so you can get all your spices over there. And we have quite a few Indian dedicated supermarkets in Nottingham, which are very close to the city, like 15 or 20 minutes walk. And there are tons of Indian restaurants. Oh my god, I can't even start naming them. So yes, if you're coming here, there are going to be plenty of Indian restaurants that you're going to find. So no
I think
hassle at all.
I think there's one section of one of the main roads in Nottingham called Maid Marian Way, and I think
Yeah.
there's about 5 Indian restaurants in the space
Yes.
of what, a few hundred meters. It's
Yes.
amazing. Some really good ones there as well. I love them.
Yeah.
Mook, over to you. How about East Asian cuisine? I assume, well, one of the pictures on screen is actually an East Asian supermarket, so I assume you've been there before.
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of supermarkets that available for you to buy Chinese ingredients that you want to cook by yourself, and it's always a very good experience for international students coming to UK, trying to find out, sorting out how to cook. And those supermarkets will definitely help you buying ingredients you can locally find in China, and also in Vietnam and in Thailand. And actually, I found out recently in Asda and Tesco they have Asian kind of ingredients sector, and you can buy those ingredients in cheaper price actually. So comparing prices in big supermarkets definitely help you.
Definitely, definitely. I've visited those aisles many times, though I can't claim to be very good at cooking those cuisines that you've just mentioned, but I try my best. Um, we've got another note on this screen, which is about our international Instagram page. There's some really, really great food guides on there that some of our colleagues and former students have put together. So please do remember to check that out there. They're really, really informative. So, Nottingham, how do you get around in the city? It actually has a really good public transport network here. In fact, I'm pretty sure that they're award winning and have been several times, certainly since I've lived here. So Nottingham is a very centralized city, and what I mean by that is that most of the places within the city centre you can access on foot, but there's also an extensive tram network, an overground tram that runs on top of the city, over the city, rather than an underground tram. And you can travel to the train station or to various suburbs from Nottingham Trent's campus. And it's actually fairly inexpensive, particularly if you're traveling locally within the city boundary. You can actually walk to the train station, though, if you want to go to other cities within the UK and explore different parts of the country. That's something that I really recommend. You can get to most places from Nottingham within a couple of hours. So places like Manchester, which is my hometown. You can also get to places like Leeds, York, Oxford, and we haven't. Oh no, I thought we hadn't listed London. We have listed London. You can get a train from Nottingham Station to London, and I believe the journey is an hour and 43 minutes. Please don't quote me on that, but it's approximately that length of journey. But very, very convenient because of Nottingham's central location. It is really, really easy to get around the city and the country more widely as well. Now, traveling to the UK, some of you are about to do this, so let's get started. First things first, I do want to make sure that everybody that's joining us in September 2023 is aware of the fact that we offer an airport coach service from London Heathrow Airport. We actually collaborate with National Express Coaches. They are, I think, they're probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest, coach providers in the UK. So very soon, if you are a student with a firm place at the university, you will have an email coming to you with instructions on how to book your airport coach. If you're a PEEP student that's about to travel for the 6-week PEEP, that's pre-sessional English program, it's actually me that's going to be emailing you with some information about how you can book your travel for your pre-sessional English course. Our advice really is to make sure that you pack lightly. Um, the last thing you want, I've welcomed students to Nottingham before that have travelled with 2 enormous suitcases, and the poor things haven't been able to carry it. It's been really, really a struggle for them. So pack lightly where you can. Just remember that in Nottingham, you can buy everything that you need. So I once heard a hilarious story of a student at another university bringing 10 kilograms of rice in their suitcase. You do not need to bring rice, and we sell that here. So please do pack lightly, and we have everything that you need. Please do make sure also that you bring your documents with you. So whether that is a copy of your CAS statement, or whether that's obviously your passport, any medical documents that you might need, things like that. Just make sure that you've got all the paperwork in place. We do have lots of guidance for this on our website, so please do check that out if you're unsure about what exactly you need to bring with you. Accommodation. Now, in a moment, I'm actually going to ask Hector and Mook to talk a little bit about their experiences of accommodation, because I think it would be great for a student perspective on this. But firstly, I just want to summarise that the university does have its own accommodation, and we also have on-campus and off-campus accommodation. Typically, the bedrooms that are on campus, they are usually more expensive, and the reason for that is because they're so conveniently positioned. They're right in the heart of the campus. It's a very short walk to class. There's some accommodation options where it would take you 30 seconds to walk from your bedroom to your class, for example. They are typically more expensive, but competitively priced compared to other institutions, and also other cities. Larger cities like London, for example, or Manchester, typically more expensive to live in than a place like Nottingham. We do strongly advise, and I cannot emphasize this enough, we strongly advise that you book your accommodation before you travel to Nottingham. It's really, really important that you do that. We have tons of advice on our website. Please do refer to that. That's advice for individual students, also students traveling with dependents and family members as well. So we've well, my colleagues have worked really hard to make sure that information is as clear as possible. So please do pay attention to the information that they've produced. Hector, I'll come to you first again. Sorry, Mick, you can go second. Sorry. Hector, your experience of accommodation when you moved here, did you live in university halls? Did you live in private accommodation? Could you tell us a little bit about what you did?
Yeah, sure. So I stayed in a student accommodation, but it was private accommodation listed on our universities. So, as you mentioned, there are on campus and few private accommodations. So, there are few private accommodation listed on our NTU accommodation website. So, I found my accommodation through the website, and it was a studio apartment. And in 2019, when I was planning to come, I booked my accommodation in the month of April, because back then most of the accommodations were getting booked like quickly. So I can imagine now, since the demand of students coming to UK is increasing every intake, so I would recommend all the students to book their accommodation as soon as of possible when they decide 100% they are coming to Nottingham University or any other university, but make sure to book your accommodations as soon as possible. And yeah, as mentioned, my accommodation was just 3 minutes from the campus. So it was basically on campus, but just a private accommodation. And I would also recommend students to take accommodation closer to the campus, because it's very beneficial to use the facilities that the universities provide. So be it library classes or any other group activity that you want to do, it's easier for you to get into the university if the accommodation is closer by and you do not waste time in traveling. So yeah, for me personally, I feel if the accommodation is closer to the campus, you can make the most out of the university life, connect with a lot of people, and just not, you know, waste your time in traveling. But again, depends on the preference as well. So look for the budgeting. And also, some of the studio accommodations, they do allow dual occupancy. So if you have
Mm,
a friend coming over, you guys can share one studio apartment, and the bills would be then, equally distributed amongst two people. So there are plenty of options that way as well. And most of the accommodations, private accommodations or NTO accommodations, they will have a detailed details about how the room would be, if it's a shared, if it's gonna be a studio apartment. So make sure you check all the details. And
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Thanks, Hector. And we have had a question. We're getting some questions that are coming in, and we will get to as many of these as we can at the end of the presentation and at the end of this particular bit of the briefing. But we had a question about accommodation for couples and families. We actually did a Facebook Live event very recently on our NTU International page, which was all about spouse and family accommodation. So please do check that out. NTU doesn't have its own accommodation for families and for people that are traveling as a couple, but there are private options available, like Hector has just made reference to. And Mook, how about you? Your experience? Did you live in NTU halls? Did you live in private residence, or have you in the last year? What did you do?
Well, on me, on the other hand, I live in a private sharing house. Reason for that is I really love the city of Nottingham, so I like to walk. So I live in London, so it's about 20 minutes walk to city centre. And I basically go to library every day, but I go by walking. You can also take buses or tram, but when the weather is nice, especially this kind of year, it doesn't help for you to enjoy the sun and then going for a walking, listen to the music, and setting yourself up for studying and working for a whole day. And so, if you wanted to considering renting private houses in Nottingham, I also do recommend you to start looking very soon. So I got my offer in the end of January, and I started right away. There are lots of websites online you can actually search and pictures and videos to look through. So probably like Right Move or Purple Bricks and those and website you can
Mhm.
actually have a look, have a sensible idea about where you can actually look to. lots of places are quite close to tram, because literally
Yeah,
when you walk out the library, it's a tram. You can
it's
go
right there.
north to the forest and then go south to Beeston, and it's only take about 10 to 20 minutes, and it's very, very safe and very
Absolutely.
convenient. Yes.
Absolutely. And you know, you've mentioned a couple of suburbs there. There's lots of suburbs around the city that are very well connected to the tram. And so, you know, Clifton, for example, where our Clifton campus is, that is connected to the tram line. That's around 20 minutes from the city centre. And of course, there's the bus network that goes to both Clifton and Brackenhurst campus. Brackenhurst is about 40 minutes from the centre of the city, but there's lots of suburbs around Nottingham, and your country advisor teams can assist you with that if you do want to ask them for some of their views and their opinions on those places as well. Okay, we'll move on from that. So we're going to talk now about meeting your final conditions and confirming your place at NTU. So there is some really, really important bits of information that I need to give you here. Firstly, if you've received an offer, please accept your offer via UCAS or the applicant portal. Our systems are built and the UCAS system is built so that if your offer has been made several weeks ago, it can expire and the offer can be automatically withdrawn if you don't accept it. So please do remember to accept the offer. Please remember also to upload your supporting documents. So if you are a direct applicant, which would mainly be postgraduate students, please do use your applicant portal to upload your supporting documents, whether that is your IELTS certificate, your academic transcripts, a copy of your passport, for example. If you are a UCAS applicant, you can send us your documents via our Ask NTU form. So please do submit those via our website. It's really easy to upload those. Um, and also just remember that as an international applicant, you will almost certainly be asked to pay a deposit of £3,000. This is your advanced payment. Our strong recommendation is that you try to make that payment using our online store. One of the reasons for this is because it's extremely quick and you'll get an almost instantaneous receipt. So that will allow us to speed up the processing of your offer, move you on to the next stage where your place is then fully confirmed. There are alternative payment methods that you can use, however, so please do take a look at our website for guidance on that. If you are a postgraduate direct applicant, you should make this advance payment by the 14th of July 2023. Please do adhere to that deadline. That is not very far away. And also, please ensure that you meet all of the conditions of your offer. So, including your academic requirement, your English requirement, please do meet all of your conditions by no later than the 11th of August. But again, I really do want to emphasize if you are in a position to meet your offer conditions earlier than this, please do not hesitate because it will take some time for your CAS to be issued and for your visa to be obtained. Speaking of CAS statements, so if you've never heard of this phrase before, this stands for Confirmation of Acceptance for Studies. This is your CAS email. You'll receive this from us once you've met all of the conditions of your offer. It won't be instantaneous, but it will come shortly after your offer has been all the conditions of your offer, sorry, have been fully met. You will use this CAS number to apply for your student visa. And again, there's really, really helpful guidance on our student hub about step-by-step processes that you need to be familiar with for applying for your visa. And please do follow that. Don't try to do it alone. Now, student visas, apart from priority visa applications, standard student visa applications, they normally take up to 3 weeks. But we have seen in the past that due to demand, UKVI, who issue the visas, they haven't been able to necessarily process all visa applications within that 3-week period. So again, my strong advice is please don't leave it to chance. Meet all of your conditions as soon as you can, just to make sure you don't have that stress of is your visa going to arrive on time, etc. Please make sure that you plan your journey to arrive in time for the start of your course. An important point that I want to make here. On your CAS statement, there will be 2 dates. One of them will say your course start date, and the other one will say your latest start date. Please do not aim to arrive for the latest start date. You should aim to arrive for the actual start date of your course. The latest start date is only there if you cannot arrive on time due to exceptional circumstances. So please make sure you arrive for the start date that is listed, not the latest start date. Life at NTU. I'm going to come to my lovely colleagues now to share their experiences. This is all about making friends and settling in. So just to highlight a few things first, we've got a fantastic global lounge on our campus, on campuses in fact, which is a social space for students to spend time with friends in between classes. We also have some fantastic faith communities that you can take part of, and of course take part in, sorry, and also various clubs and societies, whether that's sports or societies that are all tailored around mutual interests. You can take a look at that on NTSU, that is Nottingham Trent Students Union. Take a look at their website, and you'll be able to see various clubs and societies. There are dozens of them that you might want to join. Um, Hector, in fact, Mook, you've been second the last two times, so I'll come to you first. Mook, can you tell us a little bit about your experience of settling in, please? Was it hard to make new friends? Did you find it okay?
It was ever so easy because I arrived probably 2 weeks in advance, and then I noticed once I have my NTU ID, I can log into lots of activities. We have lots of pre-induction activity workshops arranged by university, and you can actually join in to meet new friends, not just from your courses but also all the students at different campus. They all come here and they can have a cup of tea and you can chat with them about how you feel about settling in and where you're coming from, and you can quickly make friends. And when you have your induction event with your course tutors, you meet your classmates on that day and you quickly meet friends. You probably find them live very near to you and you can become friends with them, learning different culture background. And Global Lounge is one of my favorites because I often pop down from the office. They have lots of activities. They have free donuts Wednesday. Uh,
I did
yeah,
not know that.
before 12 o'clock. Definitely go there. And apart from all these international cuisines, they have lots of activities like knitting, drawing, learning language. You can always join and make friends and just laugh with them.
Love it, mate. Love it. Hector, we've got probably about 5 minutes left. We might overrun the session a little bit by a few minutes just to make sure we can answer some questions. But Hector, I'm just going to ask you if you can just briefly explain about how you settled in when you arrived.
I would briefly agree with Mook. Whatever she did was the exactly same thing that I did. I arrived a week earlier just to settle in, and I remember during my induction period. So whenever your course start date is mentioned on your CAS, please do not worry. You're just not gonna jump into lectures directly. They're gonna make you comfortable first. They're gonna make you make your own groups. And for me, what they did was they put us into groups and they gave us a task to roam around the city and collect points. So we had to go around Nottingham entire city to Wallerton Park to Robin Hood statue, and we had to then click pictures and made a presentation. So it was a very interactive session, induction week for us. And I remember in that first week I made really good friends and I'm still in touch with them. So you do not have to worry. Once you come here, there are going to be ton of activities that you're going to be taking part in. And as Mook mentioned, Global Lounge is the best place to just hang out in between your lectures, or even if it's a day off, you can still go visit the Global Lounge, learn a new language, play tons of games. There are a lot of board games, chess, and a lot of card games at Global Lounge. So yeah, it's like there are people who will help you out to make friends if you are struggling. But again, in your most of your lectures and everything would be so interactive that you will naturally will be able to speak with different people and make friends, and then just explore. You would be easily able to make friends that way. And yeah, I'm
Thank
just
you,
going back
guys.
into my student life now.
Oh, the memories. I still
Yeah.
feel like that, and I graduated years ago. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, coming towards the end then. So we're just looking at budgeting. So it's really important that you do think about your costs, and so whether that is your costs for entertainment or your cost for your phone bill, your of course your rent, any subscriptions that you have, and we do recommend that you set out a weekly budget so that you can manage your money effectively. And again, We have some really good advice and guidance on our website about that, so please do check it out. We have had some questions about part-time jobs, so I will touch upon that after the briefing, just to let you know how we can support you with that. But you can of course work part-time on a student visa. You can work up to 20 hours per week during term time and full-time during university holidays. So that will help you to supplement your lifestyle, whatever that lifestyle may be. But also bear in mind that I said Nottingham's a very big student city. Do bear in mind that there's lots of places that offer really generous student discounts because they really do want students custom. So please bear that in mind and take advantage of it. Again, we're slightly overrunning. So Hector and Mook, I'm going to ask you a really brief comment here. Hector, your food bill roughly when you were a student, a month, how much, not a month or a week, I guess, how much would you say it was?
I did my budgeting weekly, so I
Mhm.
would say around 30 to 40 pounds on my food, like groceries for a week.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. I mean, that's pretty affordable,
Yeah.
really, I think, as well. Mook, would you say similar amount with budgeting?
Yes, definitely, because food on campus is quite cheap. It's not like, because university had make sure the cost of living doesn't affect students. So giving a rough idea, if you buy lunch meal deal on campus, probably £3 to £4 each meal. So you can actually divide how many days you wanted to bring your own food, how many days you wanted to eat on campus, and arrange your weekly budget on food very easily.
Thank you so much, guys. Much appreciated. Okay, we're coming towards the end of the session. Before we do that, I do want to let everybody know that we are going to answer the questions, or as many of them as we can, that have come through. So please do bear with us. If you do require support once you arrive, just to point out a few teams here for you. So we have our international student support team. That is actually separate to the international development office, but we work really closely. These guys are here to help you with anything that you need. So whether that is signposting to support services, if you need any medical assistance, for example, or you need help with that, or something as simple as you've lost your student card and you need help with finding it or getting a replacement one, or anything to do with your visa, for example, that you need assistance with, they can help with that. We also have our academic and English language support. So we offer free in-sessional English classes to our students. So if you are looking to develop your English skills during your studies, we can offer you those additional classes alongside your main studies. So please do be aware of that. And of course, we have our employability team, and they are a fantastic team that are here to offer you advice and guidance about finding a job, whether that's a part-time position or a job after graduation. So really do take advantage of that team of experts and their fantastic service. We've come to the end of the presentation now. So what I'm going to do is start going through some of the questions that we've received. And my colleagues that are monitoring this session for us are probably thinking, Dave, you're overrunning. So I'm going to try and go through as many of these as I can. So Marissa asked, how do I look for international jobs? Well, go and speak to our employability team, Marissa. They will definitely be happy to help you with that. And they've got lots of experts within the team that are there to help you with things like developing your CV, preparing for interviews, or even simply knowing where to look for international job opportunities. So please do speak to those guys. Um, Yash has asked, does a recommendation letter from a UK employer help with employment in my home country? It's a really good question, Yash. I guess the answer really depends on what the employer is looking for and what they value. Some employers might not necessarily need that, but some employers may really value it. I certainly don't think that there is any danger or any negative impact that a recommendation letter could have. So if you can obtain one, then absolutely, please do. Um, Varsha has asked, how does a placement year work and how is it beneficial? I loved my experience at NTU, Varsha. My only regret is that I didn't do a placement year. So many of our programs, they offer what's called a sandwich option. So if you're an undergraduate student, your degree, rather than being a traditional 3-year program, it would be a 4-year course where you would complete a 1-year work placement in your 3rd year. So that would be undergrad. And for postgraduate, it's a 2-year postgraduate course where you do a year of study and a year of work. I think it's really beneficial. Having been an employment advisor myself for 5 years before I did this job, one of the biggest challenges that graduates have is that they don't necessarily have work experience to draw upon when they go to job interviews. If you've gained that experience in a placement, that's going to be hugely beneficial to you in job interviews. Moving on now. So Marissa also asked, do we get annual summer and winter breaks? If so, how long do these last for? Yes, we do have winter breaks. We have Easter breaks as well and summer breaks. Our term dates are listed on our website, Marissa, so I recommend that you take a look at those so you can find out when your breaks will be. Sorry, Mookanex, I'm leaving you to this. I'm just going ahead with answering the questions. Izu has asked, can I defer my admission twice? Izu, this really depends on your circumstances and whether you're attempting to defer across multiple academic years. What I recommend that you do, Izu, is drop us an email with your NTU ID number. Contact our international inquiries team or even your country representative with your NTU ID number, and they'll be able to tell you whether that is possible for your program. Okay, this time Marissa's asked another good question. Everybody asked me this. So, okay, Mook, I'm going to ask you, what's the weather like? Are there any essential clothing items I should pack?
It's quite different than where I'm from. So in China, it's about 35 degrees today, but here at the moment it's about 18 degrees. So probably from June to September, you have this weather like in the middle of the day is quite warm, but in the early morning, evening is quite cool. So for me, that how I wear is I have a t-shirt, I have a jumper, and I have a kind of like a coat, but like light coat, just wearing with me. So just in case you coming home late, so that probably would be giving you a bit reference having lots of t-shirts on for you to change and essential jumpers or like jacket being with you will be very helpful.
Mook, you've clearly spent lots of time here because you obviously like talking about the weather, just like British people. All I would say is prepare for everything. Right now, it's lovely sunshine outside of where I am, but yesterday it was terrible rain. So and it's July, so the UK is a bit crazy with weather, but pack for all climates. It's generally very clear, four defined seasons though. Our final question that we have at the moment, and that I can see is from Ore. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Ore. Is volunteering included in the 20 hours work limit for student visa holders? That's a really good question, and because of the complexities around this, I'm not going to answer it now. I am going to refer you to some further guidance, though. There's a clear difference between it's not that actually that clear. There's a difference between unpaid work and voluntary work. And there's a website called UK Caesar, which provides really good advice about the differences between those and what counts towards your 20 hours. And please do check that out. And also check out our own student hub on our website and speak to our employability team because they're able to advise you. They're best placed to assist you with that query. All right. Sorry, I can't give you a full clear answer at the moment. We are coming towards the end of the session now, so I'm just going to answer one more question. That's from Yash. So Yash has said, can you explain the difference between the course start date and the latest date on the CAS again? Yash, I'm really pleased that you've asked that question because it is so important. I'm going to say it twice. So the course start date is the date that you should be aiming to arrive for. That is the really simple thing that you need to remember. The latest start date refers to when it's possible for us to allow you to join the course up until if there are circumstances beyond your control that mean you cannot arrive but prior to the start date. I sometimes get asked by students, "Oh, can I arrive a week later?" So still within the latest start date, but not before the actual course start date. Can I arrive a week later because I've got a friend's birthday that I'd like to celebrate back home? Unfortunately, that isn't a sufficient reason to not be coming. If you can get here before the course start date, you absolutely should be doing this. It's only again if something like there's a completely unforeseen visa delay, for example, that has prevented you from traveling, and that would be the only one of the only reasons really why you should not be here before the course start date. But plan ahead, meet all of your conditions as soon as possible, like I said, and please don't leave it to chance. Don't arrive late. If you can avoid it, it's really important that you do that. Okay, hopefully that's an important final message that we finished on. Hector and Mook, thank you so much for your input today. It's been really valuable to hear from recent and current students. Hopefully our listeners have really enjoyed hearing what you have to say. Just a reminder to everybody, if you do have any further questions, please do contact us on international@ntu.ac.uk or contact your country teams and we'll be really happy to help you further. Thank you guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.